Mountain West Championship game, Boise State and Ashton Genty playing at home on the blue turf against UNLV. Zach, what are some things you're looking out for in this championship game?
Yeah, I mean, it should be a really good matchup. It was the first time around. Really exciting game, probably the best group of five game this year. Just really close throughout. Yeah, I mean, both teams are playing really well, which kind of it's intriguing. Obviously, it's like almost 95% a play-in game for the college football playoff. I mean, I guess maybe there's a chance like Army would overtake, but I highly, highly doubt it. But yeah, no, a lot at stake, and I think it's a lot of fun because I think this is the most anybody will ever watch the Mountain West Championship game. I don't think this was a big thing that people would watch in years past. It didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, no, I mean, I think a lot of attention will be on it, and it should be a really, really good game.
Definitely agree. I like what you said there about it being a play-in game. I'm more excited for this game than I am for a lot of other championship games because, Georgia versus Texas, will cover that one, but both those teams are going to make it regardless of the outcome. And this one, I mean, Boise State, for as good of a season as they had, their only loss coming to Oregon, who's number one. If they lose, they're probably out. And UNLV, just a good bounce back, I think, from losing their quarterback to the NIL circuit early on, and they've recovered nicely. So let's talk about that game that they played before because it's what we have to go off on, right?
Yeah.
Boise State won 29-24. Anything you noticed in that game that may be indicative of the future?
Not really. I mean, it was a really. I mean, they did one of the better jobs I've seen on Genty in that game. Still had a big game. I don't have the stats up here.
33 for 128.
Yeah, so I mean,
only 3.9 yards a carry though, which is far below his.
Way below, yeah. I think he's around 7 on the season, something like that. So I mean that's something to note. But I think Maddox Madsen had a pretty just solid game. So like, Genty is the focal point of the offense. He sometimes is the offense, but they can win the game other ways. They have some solid receivers. I know they have Indiana transfer Cam Camper. It's a guy that they target a lot. I mean, they have guys. Madsen's solid. I think that was kind of a game where he needed to be solid. He doesn't have to put up astronomical numbers, but as long as he doesn't make any like truly detrimental mistakes, I think that's kind of his. That's what they need from him, and that's kind of what they got from him in that game. No turnovers. I'm not sure they turned the ball over at all in that game, actually. It was a pretty clean game on both sides. Really.
Very clean game. Very clean.
Yeah. But yeah, Madsen can run it too. And then on the UNLV side, offensively, I think it's a lot of what you're going to see from Haj Malik Williams, the new quarterback. He's been really, really good for them. He's fun to watch. Has some moments, but really athletic. He can run like a lot, really, really well. He is probably their best runner. I mean, he's the biggest threat for them in the running game. Can also throw it pretty well. Him and the whole offense as a whole has been playing really well since that game, and they were fine in that game. But I remember watching, just thinking it was very evenly matched game. Play style wise was a good kind of matchup, and I think it should be exciting again. But yeah,
would certainly agree. Haj Malik played well. Didn't do much on the passing side, only 179 yards. But rushing-wise, went for 19 for 105 and a touchdown in that game. I think his legs might be pretty big. And then also want to point out for UNLV, since this is our first preview here on the channel of UNLV, I really like Ricky White III. Really solid receiver. Really good at blocking punts as well. Plays on their punt team, and he's really good at it. But yeah, I think this is going to come down to a few things. Number one thing that I'm concerned about is what's going to happen when Boise State gets down. Like, what if UNLV comes out, punches them in the mouth, and maybe they stop Genty a little bit? I think Maddox Madsen has to step up then, maybe make some throws to the guys like you said, Cam Camper. Matt Lauder is another guy. Austin Bolt had a good game last time they played. Um, so yeah, what happens if that occurs? And also, if UNLV's offense can get going and get past Boise State's defense. Um, yeah, do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I like what you said about what happens if they get down. I think that is because they're going to have to, if they can't control the game clock and they're not controlling the pace of play, it does put them in a situation they're probably a little bit uncomfortable in. I don't. It doesn't mean like they'll lose if they get down. I think Maddox Madsen and company are very capable of certainly throwing the ball around a bit. I think as long as they don't get down big, like they're down 2 scores in the first half, like fine. As long as they can still play the way they want to, control the clock because they grind you. There's such
Absolutely.
a dynamic offense that it's not, the 2017 UCF offense where they're just chucking the ball around the field,
Right.
hyper, turbo, hurry up, no huddle. It's, it's a slow, methodical offense, but they just grind you to death and they're just really hard to get off the field. So if UNLV can get some early stops, maybe a couple 3 and outs here and there, that's where they can really kind of turn the tide of the game and start to maybe take control a little bit. Yeah, I definitely look out for that, but I'm glad you mentioned that because that's going to be a big, theme and what happens, what the result of the game is.
Absolutely. And so let's get to predictions now. So Boise State favored by 4 points here at home. Zach, what are your predictions for this game?
I really like if we're going betting wise. I think UNLV stays within that number at 4. So I would, if I were a betting man, I'd take that them to cover that 4 as long as it's 3.5, 4. I don't like it anything under 3, obviously, but I think it's going to be a great game. Almost feels like whoever has the ball last is going to win, maybe even an overtime game. I want to go with UNLV. I think they have it's really hard to beat a really good team twice in 1 year, especially when
Right.
the first one was close. You know what you're getting. But I don't know, man. Something about it. I have a feeling that Boise State is going to pull it out. I'm going to go 30-27 Boise State.
30-27. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, if any betting sites want to sponsor us, this man right here is the best better I know. Gets it right every single time. But I just don't know, man. I would not bet on this game personally because I could see it swinging both ways. Obviously, Boise State, it's going to be cold, which, UNLV plays in a dome. They're probably used to the cold. They've been playing some away games here. But still, Boise State on their home turf. Boise State fans are great, so they're going to show out full force on Friday night. Genty, obviously, like we've said, is amazing. Jonah Dalmas, I think, could be a big key for this game. He's Boise State's kicker, who is the all-time leading scorer at Boise State. Been around for a long time. So I feel as if it comes down to a kick, I feel as if he has the edge. Feels if he could ice it for the Broncos. I'm going to take UNLV here. I'm going to take UNLV, and I think it might go to overtime as well. I think you're spot on in that. And my main reason is, just like you said, tough to beat a team 2 times in 1 year, a good team. And my bold prediction here is I think that I saw last week Haj Malik Williams. He's got some stuff to him. I saw him point at the other team while he was running in for a touchdown. So I could see him running for a touchdown in overtime and then hitting the Heisman pose. That's my bold prediction.
That's a very bold prediction. I like that.
But yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll be back with a recap of this game. Good luck, fans.